Let's start this section with a general overview of modern JavaScript development. So basically, of how we write JavaScript today. Because when we build applications, we don't just write all of our code into one big script, send that script as it is to the browser, and call it a day. Now, it used to be like this, but the way we build JavaScript applications has changed tremendously over the last couple of years. So back in the day, we used to write all our code into one big script, or maybe multiple scripts. But today, we divide our projects into multiple modules. And these modules can share data between them and make our code more organized and maintainable. Now, one great thing about modules is that we can also include third-party modules into our own code. And there are thousands of open source modules, which we also call packages, that developers share on the npm repository. And we can then use these packages for free in our own code. For example, the popular React framework, or jQuery, or even the leaflet library that we used before in our Mapty project. All these packages are available through npm. Now, npm stands for Node Package Manager because it was originally developed together with Node.js and for Node.js. However, npm has established itself as the go-to repository for all kinds of packages in modern JavaScript development. Now, in order to actually download and use and share packages, we use the npm software installed on our computer. And this is just a simple command line interface that allows us to do all that. So basically, npm is both the repository in which packages live and a program that we use on our computers to install and manage these packages. So let's say that we are done writing our project code. So we divided it into multiple modules and we included some third-party modules as well. And so now the development step is complete. However, usually that's not the end of the story. At least not when we're building a real-world application. Instead, our project now needs to go through a build process where one big final JavaScript bundle is built. And that's the final file which we will deploy to our web server for production. So basically, it's the JavaScript file that will be sent to browsers in production. And production simply means that the application is being used by real users in the real world. Now, a build process can be something really complex, but we're going to keep it simple here and only include 2 steps. And the first step will bundle all our modules together into one big file. This is a pretty complex process which can eliminate unused code and compress our code as well. Now, this step is super important for 2 big reasons. First, older browsers don't support modules at all, and so code that's in a module could not be executed by any older browser. And second, it's also better for performance to send less files to the browser, and it's also beneficial that the bundling step compresses our code. But anyway, as a second step, we do something called transpiling and polyfilling, which is basically to convert all modern JavaScript syntax and features back to old ES5 syntax, so that even older browsers can understand our code without breaking. And this is usually done using a tool called Babel. So remember that I said right in the beginning of the course that we were going to do this, and in this section, we will finally do it. So these are the 2 steps of our build process, and after these 2 steps, we end up with that final JavaScript bundle ready to be deployed on a server for production. Now, of course, we don't perform these steps ourselves. Instead, we use a special tool to implement this build process for us. And the most common build tools available are probably Webpack and Parcel. And these are called JavaScript bundlers because, well, as the name says, they take our raw code and transform it into a JavaScript bundle. Now, Webpack is the more popular one, but it can be really hard and confusing to set it up. So that's because there's a lot of stuff that we need to configure manually in order to make it work properly. Parcel, on the other hand, is a zero configuration bundler, which simply works out of the box. And so in this bundler, we don't have to write any setup code, which is really amazing. So I personally absolutely love Parcel, and I use it all the time, and I think that you will love it too. And so that is the JavaScript bundler that we're going to use later in this section. Now, these development tools are actually also available on NPM. So just like packages that we include in our code, we will download and manage tools using NPM as well. And these tools include the live server that we've been using all along, the Parcel bundler that we just talked about, or Babel to transpile code back to ES5. Alright, so this is a high-level overview of how we develop modern JavaScript applications today. And if you ask me, this is really exciting stuff, because this is how professional developers actually write JavaScript today. And so in the rest of this section, you will take a big step in the direction of becoming a professional developer too.